Hello everybody, this is Dee from Dee's Cute and Crafty, and I'm back with 5 more Valentine's easy DIYs for you today. So you're going to need some of the tumbling tower blocks. I'm using my Waverly white chalk paint, some of this berry garland from Dollar Tree, and I made these 2 tiny little bows along with this really small cardboard heart. And that's going to be it, you guys. That's all we need for this DIY. I think I used about 11 of those tumbling tower blocks. So let's get started. I am stealing this idea. It is a super cool idea, and I don't know why I never thought of it. From Amber over at DIY with Amber, and her channel will be linked in the description box below. Whenever you are painting something super small, stick it to a piece of tape. How simple and easy is that? And I never thought of it. So I took a piece of masking tape out and I stuck that little cardboard heart to that, and I'm painting it white all the way around the sides, just so that you can't tell that it's cardboard once you look at it. If you paint those little cardboard holes or openings on the side, it just looks like a piece of wood. So getting that done. Then I'm going to take my tumbling tower blocks and start making a ladder. Yes, I am making a ladder. We are doing tiered tray decor today. And I've always wanted to make one of these, and I've never made one. They're super easy. I don't know what took me so long, but I'm here now. I'm making it today. So I'm just going to take those tumbling tower blocks and glue them together using some hot glue end to end. And I don't know where my L ruler, is it an L ruler? I don't know what it's called, but you know, that metal ruler that you get at Dollar Tree that's shaped like an L. That really helps when you want to make sure things are straight. I have no idea where I put that. My craft room is a mess right now. Oh, you guys. Anyway, so I'm doing the best I can, making sure that these are really straight. So I've got 2 of those, 4 each, glued together end to end, and now I'm going to take the pieces that make the rungs of the ladder and get those glued to one side. Going in and doing a little cleanup where I've got too much hot glue. I don't know why my lighting keeps fading in and out like that. I am so sorry. I have no clue. Anyway, cleaning up, getting some of that glue off of there so that when I paint this, it doesn't look weird, because sometimes paint doesn't cover up the glue. And even if it does, it leaves like a bubbly kind of look, and you don't want that. Just putting a bit of glue on each one of those rungs, and then taking the other side of my ladder and getting that attached, making sure that I'm squeezing it down really good. And this is it for the ladder. All I got to do is paint it. Still doing a little bit of cleanup, it seems. And now we're going to go in with that berry garland and make a tiny little wreath to go on this ladder, once I can figure out how to untangle it. Just going to wrap it couple times just to make sure it looks full and not like super skimpy. Want to make sure I get quite a few of those berries on there. And now I'm just wrapping the end around the circle of the garland to secure it, losing a couple of those berries as we go, but I'm just going to hot glue those right back on, not to worry. Now I'm just looking at it, seeing how it looks against the white of the ladder. I really like that pop of red off of that white. And I am going to get my bows glued down. And these are just shoelace bows. So I didn't show you how I made them because it's just like tying your shoe. I felt like we could skip that part because it was super simple. Now after I put that white heart on there, it didn't pop the way I wanted it to. What I had in my head is not what it looked like when I put it on there. So I'm going to put it right back on that piece of tape and I'm going to paint it red using my ruby red chalk paint from Hello Hobby. And I picked this up at Walmart for $1, either 67 or $1.77 a bottle. And here it all is. It's super cute and I can't wait to put it on my tiered tray. I did go in and sand it down a little bit. You can see that I sanded down the rungs because if you're going to walk on it, if it were a real ladder, that's where it would wear, and down the sides where you would hold it. So I thought that added a cute little farmhouse touch. Moving on to DIY number 2, going back in with more Waverly chalk paint in the color white and this wooden heart and these wooden lips from Dollar Tree, my black Sharpie, and 3 pieces of scrap wood. I have seen these Valentine's envelopes all over YouTube, and I have not made any for myself, so I had to make them. I wanted them for my tier tray, so this is how I do it. I'm sorry I'm out of frame on this. I adjusted my camera and I should have left it alone because now it's zoomed in just a little bit too much. So I'm just getting these all painted, painting every side, painting the front, painting all of the edges. Now that all 3 of my envelopes are painted, I'm just going in and making my envelope lines. And I love that this is not, I could have pulled out a ruler and made them super straight, but no, I love that they're not all absolutely straight and even. It adds to the piece when it looks handmade, and it definitely is looking handmade, but I love it. I think it's so cute. Just looking at placement for the lips, and I'm going to write the word kisses. Doing the same thing on the next one, just getting my lines down and getting my envelope shape down as well. And then on this one, when I place my heart, I'm just going to write the word love. And on my last envelope, I am going to write XOXO. And I actually, looking back at it, with everything being red, white, and black, I should have written that in red. But it's written in black, and I still love it. And that's it, you guys. After everything's glued down, that is it for these 3 pieces. They are so cute on my tiered tray, and I can't wait to show you. DIY number 3. I lost footage, you guys, before I even start. I lost footage because in the beginning I usually show you or tell you what I need, the products that I use to make this, and I don't know where that footage is. So here you can see I just have one of those really chunky Dollar Tree crosses. I have some red and white beads. I've got one of the red Dollar Tree wooden hearts, and I'm going to be using some red and white baker's twine and also some of the Dollar Tree natural twine to make my tassel. This one is super easy, as were the others, and it looks really nice on a tiered tray. So I've gotten my cross all painted white, and I'm taking my jute cord and my baker's twine, and I'm going to make my tassel. Just going to get that tied off at the top with a double knot, and then I'll cut off the pieces I don't need and open up the loops at the bottom. After that, I'll trim it all up nice and even, and my tassel will be made. These are easy to do. I'm sure there's probably another way to do it, but this is how I know how to do it. If you want that tassel more fluffy, you absolutely can open up that jute cord. You can untwist it, and you can also open up that baker's twine. So now I'm looking for placement of the heart, and I want it at the top and a little bit sideways. So I'm getting that glued down, and I'm just going to go in with my own handwriting and write the word love. And I'm doing this in pencil first because I'm doing that faux calligraphy, and if I mess anything up, I can erase it before going over it in my black Sharpie. So now I'm just cleaning up with my eraser, getting all of the pencil markings off of the cross, and I'm going to go ahead and take some jute cord and string these beads in a pattern that's pleasing to me. And then I will get those beads tied to the end of that cross. I will tie the tassel to that. Also add some hot glue to it. And this one, you guys, will be done. Moving on to DIY number 4, you're going to need some of that corrugated paper from a tiara in the kids section, some Waverly white chalk paint or white chalk paint of your choice, some twine, one of the red wooden Dollar Tree hearts, and I was so excited when I found these little wooden tag signs with the letters on them. Got those from Joann Fabrics. You're also going to need one of the wooden Dollar Tree mason jars, and this one is left over from 4th of July. It's one of the little kits that they have that kids like to craft with and color in with markers, but I'm using it for this DIY because it's perfect for it. So I'm just going in with my Gator sander, and I'm going to sand off all of the black lettering on the back. It is easier to do that than to try to paint over it several times, because a lot of times the black lettering will show through. So if you can sand it off, I always opt to do that as opposed to painting it multiple times. And just painting the entire wood blank with my white chalk paint. Now that it's dry, I'm going to go in with my red and white baker's twine, and I'm going to string the words love onto that twine, and I'm going to tie it off at the top. These tag letters are so cute, you guys. I was super excited when I found these. I think I paid under $5 for them, and oh my gosh, you're going to be seeing these a lot because I'm going to use them every chance I get. I'm just gluing them in place because I don't want them to move. And I'm just going to tie the baker's twine off in the back, adding a dot of glue to it as I tie the knot. Tying knots on each side. It gives it something to hold on to when you tie a knot at the end of your twine and then glue it down. I think it's more secure when you do it that way. If you have little pieces of wood or popsicle stick or something like that, you could also attach those to the back to help keep the baker's twine in place. But I'm going to be wrapping some more of that baker's twine around the top of the mason jar. So that's going to also be glued in the back, and that'll help as well. So I'm just gluing down this wooden heart, and I love that it's already red. I didn't have to paint it. I'm looking for placement now, seeing where I want it to go. And we're going to end up putting it right back in the middle. This is so easy and so cute. Just giving it a little bit of character, a little bit of shadowing with my silver Sharpie marker, and then I'm going to go back in with black marker as well at a later date. I'm just taking that corrugated paper and I am measuring out how much I need to make the lid of this mason jar. So after I get it glued on, I'm going around the edges of it with my X-Acto knife just to get it cut nice and neat and cutting it to the shape of the lid on the jar. Just wrapping the baker's twine around the top of the jar a couple of times, and then I will get it tied off and glued in the back. And of course, you guys know I'm going to go on the back of this and add some brown craft paper just to make it all nice and neat in case anybody flips it over. Adding some dots with those lines that I put, those curved lines that I put on the side, because I felt like it needed a little something else. I'm also going to take my silver Sharpie and go around the heart, giving it a little more detail and definition, making it pop just a little bit more. And I'm going to take my baker's twine and make a tiny little bow to put at the top of the jar. And that is it for this quick and easy, cute mason jar. Moving on to, after we see the glamour shots, we'll be moving on to DIY number 5. And it will be our final DIY for this video. DIY number 5, I'm taking one of those calendars. I had this left from Christmas and I never crafted with it. I thought I would. I have my Hello Hobby Ruby chalk paint. I have a red permanent Sharpie, and I also have a backup plan. My plan is to take the paper that's on here off of there, see if I can peel it up or sand it down. But if I can't, because I want to paint it with the Ruby Hello Hobby chalk paint, but if I can't get that paper off the front of there, then I'm just going to cover it in some red craft paper. So I got a backup plan for this one. It's that Dollar Tree sign. Sometimes paper is not easy to remove from Dollar Tree signs. So I'm going in with my wire cutters just to loosen up those little screws, those little hanger screws, L hooks, whatever you want to call them, so that I can either paint this or cover it. So here you see me trying to peel this up. It is not happening. I have my paint scraper. I just can't get under it. So you guys, I didn't struggle with it long at all. I just decided, yeah, no, it's not working. So I went and got my red craft paper, and I picked this up at Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to measure out the piece that I need, and I'm going to Mod Podge it onto the front of this sign. Now I'm just placing the paper on the sign, and I'm going to go in with one of those little screws to kind of get placement for where they need to go. I'm actually just putting a little line on my paper, and then I'm going to try to feel around and see if I can feel where the holes were, and then just punch a little pilot hole in the paper so that I know where the screws go once I get this Mod Podge down. So I'm taking the last little bit of my Mod Podge in this small bottle, and I'm getting every drop out of it that I can, and then I'll get my bigger bottle of Mod Podge and add to it to make sure that I have enough, because this paper that I have from Hobby Lobby is more like a cardstock. It's pretty thick. This Mod Podge is a little thin, but it's perfect. It worked so well for this. And I usually don't have good luck with Mod Podge, but it worked out really well. And now I'm going to set that aside and let it dry. And the letters and the numbers on these little tag signs were pink. They weren't really red, so that's why I'm going over them in my red permanent Sharpie. Now that the sign is dry, I'm going in with my Gator sander and I'm getting rid of any excess paper along the edges of the sign. Now I'm putting the 3 little L hooks or screws back in. And even though I marked it, it seemed like it was still kind of off. So I just took one of these tools that I have with a sharp point on the end and I poked it through, and now they go in very easily. And to make sure that they're nice and tight, I'm just going to tighten them up with my little clippers, my wire clippers or cutters. I'm going to tighten them with that, making sure that they're nice and secure. So you saw me put the letters or the word February and the numbers on there on the hooks. But then I decided I was going to go ahead and add some of that baker's twine since I have it running as a theme throughout all my other DIYs. So I took those off for just a second in order to get this glued down. I love how this turned out. I cannot pick a favorite, you guys. I can't. I love all 5 of these tiered tray easy Dollar Tree DIYs. So I have 3 of the wooden hearts. I painted them white, and I'm going to put the middle one under the baker's twine, and I'm going to put the 2 outer ones on top of the baker's twine. And that is it for DIY number 5, and I love how it turned out. I hope you guys do too. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel and watching these 5 quick and easy Dollar Tree tiered tray DIYs. Please consider subscribing. If you haven't already, give this video a big fat thumbs up. Leave me a comment. I'd like to know what your favorite DIY is. And here's the final reveal, you guys. Thanks again for watching. Be blessed, be safe, and craft something beautiful today, you guys. Bye.